Joaquin. Wak.
Welcome to the results promotion of the Horizon Scan on Biotechnology Path of the Philippines. Please find your seats and settle down. The program will start in 5 minutes. Welcome to the results promotion of the Horizon Scan on the biotechnology path of the Philippines. Please find your seats and settle down. The program will start in 2 minutes. Thank you.
Magandang hapon mga katuklas! Welcome to the results promotion of the Horizon Scan on Biotechnology Path of the Philippines. Right off the bat, a lot of big words already are at the top of our broadcast, and we'll go through all of them during our time together. At this point, we're about a few minutes away from the start of our featured presentation, where esteemed scientists from DOST agencies and academic institutions will present their findings sa Horizon Scan na kanilang isinagawa in connection with the biotechnology path of the Philippines. We are here live at the Philippine International Convention Center in Pasay City, where some of the brightest minds in the biotechnology community in the Philippines have gathered. Joining us here ang ating mga experts, and it looks like our presentation is about to begin. Mga katuklas, see you later para sa ating post-event online show, but for now, let's turn over to the results promotion of the Horizon Scan on Biotechnology Path of the Philippines.
Please all rise for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, pero sa sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagatak tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng pagkaw, ay hinatang tudla, kawin sa pagkayang minamahal, ang islang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iingin, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang may di magdidinig, luman ang araw ng walhaging pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo, ang hindi kaya na pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Pleasant afternoon, everyone. You may be seated. Thank you for joining us as we reveal the results of the Horizon Scan on the biotechnology path of the Philippines, being spearheaded by the National Committee on Biosafety of the Philippines under the leadership of Mr. Leo Cris Batucan Jr. And under the funding of the DOST Picard. I am Enrique Fortajada, SNT Fellow of the National Committee on Biosafety of the Philippines. It is a pleasure to be here, as I am also a part of the team that conducted the Horizon Scan on Science, Education, and Talent Retention, together with Dr. C.T. Macabago. I'm sure we're all excited to hear all about our results, So let's kick off this event. To open up our program, may we call on Ms. Maria Lorelai U. Agbagala, Head Secretariat of the NCBP and DOST Biosafety Committee, to deliver her opening remarks.
Honorable Secretary Renato Salidum Jr., Mr. Michael Ward, Agricultural Counselor, USDA Foreign Agricultural Service, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon and welcome to the presentation of the results of our project, Horizon Scan on Biotechnology Pathway in the Philippines. It is a pleasure to see such a diverse and engaged audience gathered here today to discuss the findings of this important study. Over the past several months, our dedicated team, led by Dr. Leo Chris Batucan, has worked diligently to explore and map out the biotechnology landscape in the Philippines. This project has been a journey of discovery, collaboration, and forward thinking. The goal was to identify the key trends, opportunities, and challenges that lie ahead for the biotechnology sector in our country. And today, we are excited to share these insights with you. Biotechnology, as we all know, holds immense potential for driving innovation across various sectors, including healthcare, agriculture, environmental management, and industrial processes. For a nation as rich in biodiversity and human health as the Philippines, the strategic development of biotechnology is not just an option, but a necessity. It is a pathway to enhancing our food security, improving public health outcomes, fostering sustainable development, and stimulating economic growth. The Horizon Scan that was conducted was comprehensive and inclusive. Our team engaged with experts from the academe, industry, and government. They analyzed global trends and assessed our local capabilities. Their findings are a testament to the collective expertise and collaborative spirit that this project has embodied. As we present the results today, I encourage you to view them through the lens of possibility and potential. The insights we have gathered highlight not only where we stand, but also where we can go. They point to the strategic actions we must take to harness the power of biotechnology and position the Philippines as a leader in this field. The presentations will cover the key findings, strategic recommendations, and potential pathways for the future. We hope it will spark meaningful discussions, inspire innovative thinking, and lead to actionable strategies that can drive our biotechnology sector forward. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to everyone who contributed to this project, our researchers, partners, stakeholders, and all of you who are here today. Your commitment and expertise have been invaluable. So today, let us listen to the results of the Horizon Scan and chart a course for a vibrant and prosperous biotechnology future in the Philippines. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Mamalu, for that warm welcome. Now, to give his insights in today's activity, let us hear the keynote address from the Secretary of the Department of Science and Technology, none other than Dr. Renato U. Solidum Jr.
To our scientists, engineers, esteemed guests, distinguished resource persons, colleagues, and to the online viewers, makaagham na hapon sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon to everyone. Today's event marks the culmination of the National Committee on Biosafety of the Philippines project, Horizon Scan on the Biotechnology Path of the Philippines, which aims to prepare the Filipino people for the future. Before we explore the future, it is essential to examine our present and reflect on our past. First, allow me to discuss about the National Committee on Biosafety of the Philippines, or NCBP. Then, I will talk about the necessity of foresight in science and technology. The NCBP has been safeguarding the biosafety of the Filipino people for 34 years since its establishment in 1990. The committee was formed primarily in response to a significant scientific advancement. Researchers from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and the International Rice Research Institute discovered a method to enhance crops by transferring and combining DNA from different organisms. At that time, transgenic technology was relatively new and promising, but it required caution due to limited experience both nationally and internationally. Prompted by scientists and academics, the government responded by creating the NCBP. The NCBP composed of representatives from the Department of Science and Technology, DOST, Department of Agriculture, DA, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, DNR, Department of Health, DOH, Department of Foreign Affairs, DFA, Department of Trade and Industry, DTI, and various technical experts is mandated to coordinate and harmonize interagency and multi-sector efforts in developing biosafety policies for the country. It establishes scientific, technical, and procedural standards to promote biosafety in the Philippines. Through the years, under the leadership of DOST, the NCBP has evolved with changing times while adhering to its mandate. Through the efforts of its member departments and their respective biosafety committees, the NCBP has developed various guidelines to address concerns regarding the biosafety of transgenic technologies. To prepare and safeguard the Filipino people, the NCBP diligently assists the nation in honoring international commitments and enforcing local realities. Now, moving forward to the importance of foresight in science and technology. Professor Ben R. Martin defines foresight as the process involved in systematically attempting to look into the longer-term future of science, technology, the economy, and society with the aim of identifying the areas of strategic research and the emerging generic technologies likely to yield the greatest economic and social benefits. Foresight in science and technology is essential for four main reasons: to promote human well-being, create wealth, protect wealth, and ensure sustainability. These, in fact, are the DOST's four strategic pillars that guides the whole department as one DOST in providing solutions and opening opportunities for the Filipino people. By anticipating future trends and potential breakthroughs, we can promote human well-being by proactively addressing health challenges, improve medical treatments, and enhance the quality of life. Biotechnology, for instance, holds the promise of personalized medicine, advanced diagnostics, and innovative therapies that can significantly improve health outcomes. Foresight allows us to identify emerging technologies and industries that can drive economic growth, boosting wealth creation. Early investment in these areas can create new jobs, stimulate innovation, and strengthen the economy. Biotechnology has the potential to revolutionize industries such as agriculture, healthcare, and environmental management, providing new opportunities for wealth generation. Now, wealth protection. Anticipating potential risks and challenges allows us to develop strategies to mitigate them, ensuring that our economic gains are not lost to unforeseen circumstances. In biosafety, this means having robust frameworks and guidelines to prevent and manage risks associated with new technologies, thereby protecting our investments and economic stability. Foresight helps us to foresee environmental challenges and develop sustainable solutions. Biotechnology can play a crucial role in this, offering ways to manage natural resources more efficiently and reduce our environmental footprint. By integrating sustainability into our foresight activities, we ensure that our development is not only prosperous but also environmentally responsible. Science and technology are constantly evolving. To position ourselves strategically, we must always ground our actions in the reasons behind them. Acknowledging the importance of foresight in science and technology, the DOST commissioned the National Academy of Science and Technology, or NAST, to develop a foresight document, resulting in Pagtanaw 2050, the Philippine Foresight on Science, Technology, and Innovation. This document includes a comprehensive overview of science, technology, and innovation megatrends, global and national societal goals, transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary operational areas, and current and emerging technologies relevant to the nation's development. It charts a strategic path for the Philippines' science and technology efforts. Foresight provides us with the insight needed to navigate future complexities, ensuring we are prepared to harness opportunities, address challenges, and foster a sustainable and prosperous society. The commitment of the National Committee on Biosafety of the Philippines and the Department of Science and Technology to this endeavor reflects our dedication to the well-being, wealth creation, wealth protection, and sustainability of the Filipino people. Maraming salamat at mabuhay po kayong lahat.
Thank you, Secretary Solidum. Before we let you go po, sir, we would like to invite you po on stage together with our project team, our technical panel chairs, our guest speakers, as well as the NCBP Secretariat to come to the stage po for a brief photo opportunity with our keynote speaker po. Thank you. Once again, thank you for our esteemed speakers for gracing our event. Before we delve in the results of our Horizon Scan, let's take this moment to recharge with the provided refreshments. While you do that po, we present to you the captivating Filipino cultural dance performance for your enjoyment. Thank you.
This project is really standing on the shoulders of the giants, our academicians in NASA. Pagtanaw 2050 focuses on the mega trends, on the broad strokes of science and technology. As such, we decided to give details on how is biotech gonna be for the Philippines in the coming years. When I identified my teammates, I invited people that I am already familiar with their work ethics, with their skill set, and not just that, their reputation precedes them. Fortunately enough, they opted to join the project. Biotechnology is one of humanity's most potent tools in advancing civilization. The Filipino people has been using biotechnology for so long. For example, our ancestors has been using biotechnology to produce suka. In a more modern sense, our Filipino scientists are using biotechnology to produce food that are fortified with nutrients. And not just that, we have efforts now to produce medicines. So, as I was saying, biotechnology is an all-encompassing tool that humanity has, and the Filipino people must and has to use it to advance our purposes. So naisip namin gawa ng Horizon Scan ang biotechnology ng Pilipinas kasi it is important for us to chart our own course in terms of biotech because biotech has plenty of applications. Biotechnology that does not claim to be the #1 solution. Biotechnology just says it is one of the tools that we have to advance, to make life comfortable for the Filipino people. So we need to inform the Filipino people that they can use this. When this project was starting, I was telling my assistant na, Liz, I will measure the success of this project if the policymakers will be able to hear of it. We hope that our results will influence them to rely more on data that is scientifically produced. Now that we have our results, I'd say the future is even brighter because our experts have found that yes, many people in the different sectors are interested in using biotechnology. We hope that our results will inspire you to use the tool that is biotechnology to develop our economy, to develop our people, to advance the Filipino agenda. We believe that biotech is the future. Biotech is the way to go. May our results inspire you to be more productive for the Filipino people, make lives easier for the Filipino people. Thank you.
So I would like to congratulate Sir Leo and his team for a job well done. I'm really proud of what this project has become, and I could see that the product of this research project would really be very helpful for the future of the Philippine biotechnology.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, po. It has been a long year for the project team and for our resource persons who are here today. So I'd like to thank you again to our resource persons who are present, who helped us, who gave us data to produce our outputs. So now I'll be talking about what the project was all about, and then my colleagues will then talk about our results. Okay, so of course, I'd like to thank first our supporters, primarily the NCBP. So these 4 institutions are the ones that supported us most. So the NCBP and its members, composed of the DA, DNR, DOH, DOST, DFA, and DTI, and its technical experts. Our funding institution, DOST, PICARD, or the Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic, and Natural Resources Research and Development, led by Executive Director Reynaldo Ebora. To our PICARD visitors who are here, thank you very much for your support. And to the DOST S&T Fellows Program, led by Undersecretary Lea Buendia, thank you very much. And of course, to DOST Central Office, our keynote speaker, Secretary Solidum. Maraming salamat po. And again, thank you very much for attending. And to our online viewers, thank you very much for tuning in. Okay, moving forward. Okay, the future is difficult to see from force majeure to multiple players and other variables identifying and choosing a clear path for our direction is not an easy task, especially something as complex and as important as science and technology. Thankfully, we have hindsight and, of course, tools and techniques that will aid us in charting our path. Zooming out and looking at the big picture, the trajectory of human science and technology effort can be grouped into three major transformations, hence this figure that you see. Now, initially, humanity was just transforming the material from one form to another. So we have been transforming materials. With our increasing knowledge of the properties of matter, humanity started to transform how it harnesses energy. So the second transformation of our efforts is in transformation of energy. Now, further advancement in matter and energy led us to transform how we store and use information, so the transformation of information. Now, some thinkers are of the idea that the next stage is humanity transforming life. So this is going to be the fourth transformation. Now, we have been attempting to transform life since civilization started, agriculture and many other efforts. In the transformation of life, our most potent tool is biotechnology. So what then is biotechnology? And this is the definition that we took for this project. So biotechnology is basically the application of biological organisms, systems, and processes to manufacture products or provide services. So we use the broad definition of biotechnology. And as mentioned in the videos that you've seen earlier, biotechnology can span from the basic fermentation process, producing vinegar, to the most advanced examples, genetic engineering. There's a wide array of biotechnologies. Now, zooming in the context of the Philippines, 2 years ago, the DOST through the NAST released a document, Pagtanaw 2050, and this foresight document sought to chart the course of Philippine science and technology effort. In the document, they identified 12 operational areas, the items that you see, where S&T can be applied most effectively for the benefit of the Filipino people. In that document, they also identified biotechnology as a major tool in advancing these 12 areas. The foresighting process that the experts in NAST use has many techniques involved. And one of this is horizon scanning. Now, what is horizon scanning? Horizon scanning is the systematic examination of opportunities and threats with emphasis on new technology. Now, biotechnology is not just a potent tool, it is also fast-changing and transforming. So there is a need to know where it is going, so the Filipino people will ride the new wave of human advancement in science and technology. So we thought, why not scan the future of biotechnology in the context of the Philippines? So we did just that. We are now here. So we did a project, and we called it Horizon Scan on the Biotechnology Path of the Philippines. Basically, this project stands on the foundations that Pagtanaw 2050 built. And in this project, we attempted to scan the future of biotechnology in the Philippines in terms of the 8 operational areas. So we have energy, health systems, food security and nutrition, information and communications technology, water, science education and talent retention, environment and climate change, materials, and the blue economy. We performed the scan by inviting emerging leaders to chair each operational area. For health systems, we have Dr. Sara Jimenez and Dr. Amy Aman. For energy, we have Director Mia Africa. For food security and nutrition, we have Mr. Von Kevin Alag and Mr. Raymond Corona. For ICT, we have Dr. Eduardo Piedad. For water, again, we have Ms. Director Mia Africa. For science education and talent retention, we have Dr. C.T. Aisha Macabago and Mr. Enrique Fortajada. For environment and climate change, we have Mr. Alfredson Peralta. For materials, we have Dr. Ian Dominic Tabanyag. And for blue economy, we have Mr. Joseph Carlo Verhel, who is, by the way, tuning into us online as he is in Japan. So this scan is more or less worldwide. Anyways, okay, so for this project, we have 7 primary goals. So our goal primarily was to, first, identify and create a pool of Filipino experts in the field of biotechnology and its allied disciplines. Because after all, biotech is not standalone. It connects with other areas. Second, we sought to identify and categorize the current strengths and weaknesses of Philippine biotechnology environment per area, because the strengths and weaknesses of each area are different. For example, biotech in health is different from the strength and weakness of biotech in energy. And then we wanted to conduct an emerging technology analysis and elicit a list of technology signals and potential opportunities and threats for Philippine biotechnology, again, per area. And then we wanted to examine specific policies affecting identified areas and assess whether these policies and programs are responsive to the developments in biotech. And next, we wanted to identify and develop a framework or roadmap for select technologies that can be developed and utilized in various biotech subsectors. And then we wanted to come up with recommended solutions on how these opportunities can be harnessed and risks be mitigated. And of course, we want to advocate the importance of futures thinking, foresighting. So each operational area, so how did we try to achieve these objectives? So for each operational area, we invited resource persons from 4 major sectors. So we have the academia, the government, the industry, and the NGOs. We made sure that our invites are well represented from all over the Philippines, gender sensitive, and considering early and late career experts. Okay, so that's basically it for my introduction. But before we go to the main course, I'd like to clarify that our outputs are recommendatory in nature. Though we have had our clearance from our funding institutions, our recommendations are not official positions of our respective agencies. And due to the scope and breadth of the study, we've also set limits per area. Our written reports will be submitted to our funding institutions, and manuscripts and briefs will be available for public consumption after publication. So with that introduction, I'd like us to start with our results presentation. To present the health system's operational area, please welcome Dr. Sara Jimenez and Dr. Amy Aman. Thank you.
When we talk about the problems of our health system, ang pinakamalaki talaga is health inequity. There are a lot of people who does not have access or good access to health. We want to help those na talagang mas nangangailangan and lessen the inequity in its sense. What we want to look into, ano ba yung parang mga biotechnology na magagamit natin sa health na at the same time makakatulong siya para dun sa universal health natin.
So we see genomics being a top biotechnology in the future, the use of locally manufactured devices, and rapid molecular diagnostics as well. We also see that in at least 10 to 20 years, the application of artificial intelligence in wearables and sensors, as well as in the use of big data in genomics and imaging will be rampant.
Biotechnology and advanced technology is a very important tool and can change the landscape of health and health service delivery in our country, and that we must support and embrace it in a timely and secure manner so that we can lessen the health inequity in our country.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Ayan, may kausap tayo. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Sarah, a pediatrician, a public health researcher, and a science and technology fellow from the Department of Science and Technology.
And I'm Amy, a medical doctor, a clinical epidemiologist, and also an SNT fellow of the Department of Science and Technology.
During the pandemic, as medical doctors, we have encountered numerous problems, particularly in the lack of medical supplies, such as medicine and medical equipments for our patients. This was the reality when our country's health systems were saturated and overwhelmed.
This afternoon, as scientists and champions for health biotechnology, innovation, and R&D, we will demonstrate how supporting health R&D and improving translation of health research results into products and policies may contribute to increasing health equity and achieving health for all.
Next slide, please. Okay. In this horizon scanning activity, we have two cohorts. The first is the Health R&D Management cohort, composed of key persons from various institutions involved in R&D management and health R&D translation. The second cohort are the Filipino biotechnology experts, composed of different scientists and innovators from various institutions with a wide range of expertise related to health biotechnology. This approach acknowledges that the conduct of R&D and the success of a technology involved not only researchers, but also funding and government agencies that monitor health R&D and its translation.
Following the IDEA protocol, the top technologies in 5, 10, and 20 years were identified based on the health biotechnology categories of Pagtanaw 2050, with an option to add more if necessary.
While elicitation activities yielded different lists of top technologies between the two cohorts, genomics, rapid and molecular diagnostics, and wearables and sensors were on both lists for the both 5-year and 10-year timelines. Assistive and supportive devices were identified as a top technology by the Health R&D Management cohort, but not the Biotech Experts cohort in the 10-year timeline. For both cohorts, applications of artificial intelligence in health were identified in the 20-year timeline.
The success of these identified technologies will depend on various factors. The Futures Triangle, based on our Horizon Scan activity, illustrates what can be improved and how to improve to create enabling environments for local health biotechnology R&D and its translation. The weight of the past includes outdated regulations and limiting regulatory and legal systems for R&D that contribute to the inefficient ecosystems for the conduct of research. Poor translation of health R&D and innovation in the country may also be affected by our researchers' limited knowledge in subsequent steps after R&D, from applying for intellectual property rights protection to marketing strategies.
Meanwhile, the pool of the future includes the existence of R&D champions, which was found to be a key factor for successful health strategies. Aside from this, the implementation of the amended procurement law and the increasing utility and necessity of these biotechnologies in our daily lives pull us into developing them in the future.
If we focus on our current resources, leverage the benefits of the past investments, address the current needs of the people through health biotechnology R&D, and support and mentor more champions and advocates, we can eventually achieve a successful adoption and translation of the identified technologies.
We can look forward to an envisioned future with an effective medical supply chain relying not only on imported goods, but sourcing from locally manufactured, produced and medical products that are tailored fit to the needs of the Filipino people.
This will hopefully lead to more cost-effective medical products, decreased out-of-pocket expenditures, improved overall health of Filipino people, decreased health inequity, and overall economic growth.
We foresee enhanced public trust in science and technology and improvement of our global health standing. More importantly, in future disasters and pandemics, our country will be more prepared and not solely reliant on the global supply chain.
Here is a proposed roadmap for strengthening the biotechnology, health R&D, and innovation of the country. It is composed mainly of improving policies for ease and efficient conduct of R&D, implementation of amended protocols, increasing allocated funds for research, incentivizing and prioritizing of research projects that utilize locally sourced materials, and above all, supporting researchers and innovators in translating their products to the market.
The success of this endeavor will not depend on one sector alone, but would require a whole-of-society approach as well as transdisciplinary and multi-sectoral collaboration. It recognizes the role that each of us plays in the society, science, and policy sectors, keeping in mind that the things we do are not merely out of pure love for science and technology, but actually contribute to providing safety and security of all Filipino people.
Next slide, please. Next slide. We fervently hope that in times of disaster and future pandemics, things like this will not happen anymore. With that, we would like to thank all of the resource persons who took part in making this foresighting activity a success.
We hope you can continue to support us and be champions for health, biotechnology, R&D, and innovation. Magandang agham po sa ating lahat. Now here's Director Mia Urbano Africa with the Horizon Scan on Energy and Water.
Energy and water are very necessary utilities that we use in our daily lives. Without energy, we could not function. Isa sa basic needs natin ang water. If I will connect them with the other operational areas, they have a distinct or significant impact in our economy, growth, and progress. So mahalagang pagtuunan yung mga biotechnology na ina-apply dito sa areas na to para mas ma-hasten natin yung paano sila ide-develop at paano payayabungin. Think direct translation yung biotech, di ba? Ang research na to is trying to connect kung meron bang biotech doon sa energy and water industries. When you say research, there's a huge part in our hearts that is saying na worthwhile itong gawin para sa bansa natin, especially to our younger generations.
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, I am Mia Camila Urbano Africa, the Technical Chair for the Energy and Water Operational Areas. But today, I would just focus on the energy industry, and my research is entitled The Philippine Energy Transition Through the Utilization of Sustainable Clean Technologies and Emerging Biotechnologies. I would also like to take this opportunity to express that I am deeply honored to be in front of all of you, especially in front of DOST Secretary Rene Solidum, who is also a geologist like me. As mentioned, next slide please, the Horizon Scanning Project involved 8 operational areas, 2 of which are assigned to me, energy and water, that are both important utilities used in our daily lives. Next slide. So why am I here? And what's the connection of geology to energy and to biotechnology? Geology means the study of the earth, and geology fortifies our energy systems from non-renewable energy to renewable resources. And understanding the earth's processes and resources is important in our transition to sustainable solutions such as cleaner energy and biotechnologies. The goal of this study is to conduct horizon scanning or mapping in the energy industry by involving several energy experts from the upstream. Next slide, please. Upstream, midstream, and downstream sectors. As you can see, the energy industry is very broad and diverse. Next slide. Additionally, it is also worthwhile to define the energy sources, which is classified as renewable energy, para madali pong ma-memorize its big show. Biomass, geothermal, solar, hydro, ocean and wind, and the non-renewable oil, natural gas, coal, and nuclear. So from the word itself, non-renewable, it was formed billions and millions ago at the Earth's subsurface. And just to share that majority of my career life was concentrated in the upstream industry, exploring for petroleum. But now I have transitioned into the energy research, truly the newly established Philippine Energy Research and Policy Institute. The basis of this study is the foresight initially done by the DOST through the Pagtanaw 2050. And under the energy section, the following clean energy technologies were identified. Based on the energy horizon scanning that we have conducted, these clean energy technologies do not necessarily correspond to biotechnologies. To make most of the time, I have requested the energy participants to identify the top 4 clean energy technologies in terms of novelty, plausibility, and impact. So these are as follows. Number 1 is solar energy, which is considered as a mature and well-developed technology in energy production, which could provide a solution to the off-grid areas in the archipelago. Additionally, in terms of investment costs, it is relatively cheaper compared to other technologies. Second on the list is the use of energy storage, which could serve as a backup to complement RE sources like wind and solar, especially when these sources do not operate at base load capacity or during off-peak periods. Third is the third generation biofuels, which is highlighted, and the focus is on the transportation sector, aiming to increase the blending of biofuels to replace fossil fuels and contribute to emission and reduction. The abundance of agricultural crops and biomass in the country points to the potential for producing these biofuels on a large scale. And lastly, the Philippines, being an archipelago, will considerably benefit from the use of microgrids, as this will allow power to reach even the most far-flung areas in the country. After ranking the clean energy technologies, the respondents then have identified the biotechnologies in the energy industry to be focused under the RE sector, specifically on the biomass industry. The first biotech is the utilization of waste to energy conversion, which could address our waste disposal problem and turn it into an additional source of sustainable energy. Ika nga nung 90s, di ba? Sa basura may pera, pero ngayon sa basura may enerhiya. Municipal solid waste could include biomass waste, with the waste-to-energy bill now in the Senate plenary. A unified guideline in the garbage disposal, composting, and development of composting infrastructures could be implemented locally down to the barangay level. Second is biofuels, which is a promising RE source in the country, primarily used for electricity generation and biofuels production. The government has enacted the Biofuels Act of 2006 to reduce dependence on petroleum fuels and promote biofuels production, focusing on bioethanol and biodiesel. Next slide, please. So based on this study, we have several policy recommendations, and we have 3 takeaways. First is that the legal framework should be consistent. Energy experts have recommended that a legal framework should be aligned with the needs of the energy consumers and promote efficient implementation of energy laws. The energy participants have recommended the Department of Energy to spearhead the establishment of a one-stop shop to resolve issues on permitting, monitoring, and law implementation on the clean technology and biotechnologies in the energy industry. Second, The support from the government, especially through funding, is also warranted. Problems on financing clean technology and biotechnologies in the energy industry could be augmented through local and foreign linkages and collaboration. Information and education campaigns should also be enforced. Next, for the policy recommendations on the biotechnologies in the energy industry, we should develop a national biotechnology strategy in the energy industry through the review of existing policies. Conduct market studies of available technologies, implement guidelines down to barangay level of the use of bioplastics, and lastly, initiate studies on biohydrogen as an emerging technology. Since the energy industry is diverse and given the limited time allotted for the study, the author and the research respondents recommend for a more detailed study in the future, inviting more experts from the RE industry, specifically from the biofuels or biomass sectors, together with the DOE and other related energy research institutes, to come up with a roadmap for the identified biotechnologies in this research. As you can see here, this is the roadmap from the Department of Energy for years 2018 to 2040, and it is worthwhile to incorporate the new circular that was just released last month, directing the increase of biodiesel blending effective October 2024. In summary, these are the results of the study. The clean energy technologies indicated in Pagtanaw 2050 do not necessarily correspond to biotechnologies. And we have determined that the biotechnologies in the energy industries are focused mainly in the renewable energy sector, specifically in the biomass section. And lastly, it is crucial to formulate a strategic approach based on the policy recommendations outlined in this policy brief to expedite the country's shift towards sustainable and cleaner renewable energy. Thank you to the following persons, to my family, for making this research a possibility. Maraming salamat po. To tell us about the Horizon Scan on Environment and Climate Change, here's Mr. Elfridson Peralta.
As a freshwater biologist, who has been doing research in different watersheds in the Philippines, malinis man yan o madumi, nasaksihan ko ang kalagayan ng ating kalikasan at gaano ito maaaring maapektuhan ng hindi sustainabling paggamit at pag-unlad ng hindi lamang mula dahil sa tao, kundi dahil sa natural na pabago-bagong klima na pinasasama nito dahil na-accelerate natin yung impacts ng climate change. So kung kaakibat ng mga polusyon na nakikita natin sa paligid natin, kasabay nito ang pabago-bagong klima, mas nakakaalarma. Biotechnology would really play a big role when it comes to environmental sustainability, climate action, and resilience. Maraming proseso, teknolohiya at protocol na gumagamit ng biotechnology para una, maintindihan ang kalagayan ng kalikasan, pagkaroon tayo ng early warning sa mga problema sa kalikasan, gayon din para mas magkaroon tayo ng sustainableng pagkukunan ng mga pangangailangan, ng mga trabaho. As such, we have to look into this operational area as a good springboard for us to tap the potential of biotechnology in ensuring sustainable environment and climate-resilient Philippines.
Thank you, Director Mia. I'm happy with the transition of the operational area previously up to this point. I'm Elfridson Peralta. My friends and colleagues call me Easy. I'm from the University of Santo Tomas. On the screen right now, this is the typical picture that you will have or everyone would have in mind if we talk about a nice environment. Sometimes our go-to sketch would be mountain and a sun. Kinder pa lang po tayo, alam na ho natin how it should look like. Unfortunately, the environmental reality is dominated by this scenario. This is not a picture of matcha that you had yesterday or earlier, this shows algal bloom due to eutrophication. We can no longer reverse that situation. Along with other planetary boundaries, we have reached and exceeded our limit to most of the environmental pollutants. Since 2009, Dr. Rockstorm and his team has monitored and assessed these planetary boundaries. We have exceeded our safe operating space for 6 of the 9 environmental pollutants and scenarios. First, nitrogen and phosphorus pollution has already exceeded and impacted the biogeochemical flows. And this is due to anthropogenic activities. Kabilang dito ang mga sektor ng agrikultura, industriya at kabahayan. For freshwater change, surface and groundwaters have exceeded the threshold for freshwater use due to hydrological regulation and ecosystem integrity. Third, our unsustainable land use and land use conversion and forest fires are causing rapid change in our forest areas. Fourth, we have failed to maintain functional and genetic diversity in terms of biosphere integrity. Kaakibat ng mga suliraning ito, ang banta ng climate change, hindi lingid sa kaalaman at karanasan natin, kamakailan lang, kung gaano kakaiba ang panahon at klima na nararanasan natin ngayon dahil maaari sa greenhouse gases, aerosols, and even surface albedo. Understudied novel entities like microplastics, endocrine disruptors, and organic pollutants have already exceeded their Earth-safe operating space. Maaring ligtas pa tayo pagdating sa level ng ozone depletion, aerosol loading, and ocean acidification, pero higit na dapat tayo ay maging proactive upang mapanatili ang ligtas na antas na ito. Given the current status of the environment and climate change, we hope to look into the potentials of biotechnology towards climate action and resilience and environmental sustainability, or we say biocares. When I say we, much of the Horizon Scan recommendation and results come from the resource persons with diverse but relevant background, expertise, and affiliation. Allow me to thank and acknowledge these colleagues who have been able to share their invaluable inputs for biocares. We aim to conduct a Horizon Scan on the relevant biotechnology, particularly in the context of environment and climate change here in the Philippines. We intend to enumerate priorities based on projections in 5, 10, and 20 years. Similarly, we hope to suggest a roadmap based on these priorities. The Horizon Scan for biocares had 3 stages following the Delphi approach. Stage 1, held online until expert elicitation, which initially identified 15 technologies for each year of relevance, as you can see here on screen. The second stage was devoted for data sorting, presentation, and ranking or scoring. Lastly, a hybrid meeting with expertise allowed further discussion and shortlisting of biotechnologies based on themes and overlaps, giving us the results of the final list of biocares that will remain relevant in 5, 10, and 20 years. 5 years from now, the following technology and processes and applications will remain relevant in biocares. As you can see here on screen, 4 of this will remain relevant for the next 10 years, while 3 of this should be maintained for the next 20 years, led by priority on sustainable production and circular economy. To give you details on this, first, for the 5-year relevance, biomonitoring utilizing biological indicators, next-generation sequencing, metabarcoding, metagenomics should be one of the priorities, along with risk screening, risk assessment for non-native species, and monitoring sensors for environmental factors should also be prioritized. Next, this is followed by bioremediation, R&D and application in degraded environments, and for improvement of aquaculture, water quality, disease management, and feed efficacy. Third, we have to make sure that these career opportunities would remain relevant to the roles and tasks that should be encouraging the students and professionals. Tied in the fourth priority, biotechnology is relevant to development of detection tools of pathogenic organisms and antibiotic pollution. Interestingly, we have already initiatives on bacteriophages technology, and these phages would have opportunities and potentials to controlling bacterial communities. The R&D on sustainable development and renewable energy production based on methane production and emissions in the Philippine lakes is considered, as well as liquid transportations using biofuels, bioethanols, and biodiesels. For agriculture and aquaculture, R&D shall prioritize fermentation technologies for feeds and farming, large-scale tissue culture, breeding of resilient strains. These priorities will either transition or remain based on the following perceived possible developments. Biomonitoring and detection tools will support the priority on biological data technology based on AI-assisted risk assessment, tool software, management of big bulk biodiversity and climate data, and even genome analysis for mapping environment response genes. Next is agriculture and aquaculture biotechnologies. At this point, should venture on the utilization of sustainable and efficient fish feeds, products resistant to pests, diseases, and climate crisis, crops with high nutritional value, and alternatives to destructive food production. This is followed by sustainable and renewable energy, particularly on the utilization of alternatives for packaging and energy, construction materials, and the use of renewable sources, energy sources rather, mentioned earlier, as well as availability of cheaper feedstock and substrates. Bioremediation should remain relevant in this period, as you can see here, addressing eutrophication in most of the aquatic environments. This initial R&D and applications of biotechnologies should lead to sustainable production and circular economy, supported or through bioengineering for sustainable production and job creation. At the same time, providing alternatives for products or alternative products for human nutrition. Microbial bioremediation should also continue to restore degraded environments, ecosystems, improving nutrient cycling. Agriculture and aquaculture sectors should eventually benefit from recombinant DNA technology and sustainable agriculture, fish species and strains that will be able to thrive in the face of climate change, and treatment for common fish diseases. Lastly, sustainable and renewable energy will then focus on emissions, or rather harnessing lake emissions, methane emissions, and being able to look into investing in lithium harvesting, research, and hydrogen production. Kung babalikan natin, marami sa suliraning nabanggit ko kanina, ang maaaring masolusyonan o maagapan ng mga biocares na napakita ko sa screen. Lubos na kababahala ang kalagayan ng ating mga tubig kanlungan or watersheds. Of the 71% available water on Earth, I hope we all know, and hopefully we all remember, less than 1% of which is the available fresh water. As such, it is deemed the most threatened ecosystem worldwide. We have characterized these conditions as Southern Urban Hydrosystem Syndrome as early as 2019, based on the manifestations and symptoms of the declining freshwater biodiversity and ecosystem in the global south, including the Philippines. Our DPSI analysis in 2019 showed how climate change will exacerbate the problems caused by environmental problems along with unplanned or badly managed urban hydrosystems. Hindi na iba ang kalagayan ng tubig kanlungan or watersheds natin dito sa Pilipinas. At a watershed scale, we hope to recommend a roadmap motivated by the biocares I have presented. It's clear that biodiversity at this point, along with habitat loss, are persistent problems in the Philippines. This is mainly attributed to deforestation, species invasion, and definitely pollution. Although we have existing watershed management plans and initial efforts on bioassessment and biomonitoring, our activities need further harmonization and direction. This suggested roadmap highlights milestones every 2 years within the short and long-term goals. We have to implement watershed-based land use planning and integrated management along with application
of biomonitoring protocols using classical and molecular approaches. Urban hydro system will significantly benefit if we will strictly follow buffer zones, and then of course, risk screening assessment, toolkits for non-native species from aquatic and terrestrial environments. We have already started that here in the Philippines since 2020, and hopefully this gets to be continued. One of the root causes of watershed pollution is untreated effluents, which should strictly be implemented and prohibited. With the aid of enough wastewater treatment facilities across watersheds, we should be able to see significant change if this would be strictly implemented. We should be able to tap into the utilization of microbial biotechnology, particularly on bioremediation and water treatment against nutrient and microplastic pollutions. We should mitigate point and non-point sources or pollution sources and promote organic farming and sustainable aquaculture, as well as the production and use of phosphate-free detergents based on our recommendations in our study since 2020. In this milestone, valuation studies of freshwater-specific economic and ecological gains from protected landscapes should be able to point to the establishment of a clearer and stronger framework for freshwater protected area. In 2019, we have documented the advantage of FPA in terms of stream biodiversity and habitat conservation. And we continue to do this in several watersheds. We already started specifically or incidentally to protect these freshwater ecosystems with their inclusion in a terrestrial reserve or protected area. Again, incidentally. However, unlike marine protected areas or MPAs, our conservation efforts is limited when it comes to freshwater ecosystems. Wala pa rin po tayong malinaw na batas o palusiya para sa FPA. Sa mga kasalukuyang protected areas sa Pilipinas, halos 60% ang maaaring mangailangan ng malinaw at epektibong polisiya, partikular na sa FPA. Kamakailan lang nakita ng malawakang pag-aaral na ito na maaaring madoble ang benepisyong pang-konserbasyon sa isang protected area kung ang polisiya at pamahalaan ay nakasentro at naaayon sa FPA. This recommended roadmap may allow us to reach milestone of having climate resilient and environmentally sustainable watersheds in the Philippines. This roadmap may supplement the existing national plans and policies as indicated on the screen. With a clear foresight, my colleagues, friends, we can effectively care for our common home, our environment, and climate, guided by BioCares. Maraming salamat po sa pakikinig at of course sa bumubuo ng Horizon Scan. With that, I'll turn you over to Sir Leo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Easy. 3 down, 5 more to go. Excited na ba kayo? Okay. Thank you. Now, a critical aspect of a successful Horizon Scan is empowering stakeholders to leverage the insights for their specific fields. We're honored to have representatives from various sectors who will share their perspectives this afternoon. Now, break muna tayo sa mga chairs natin pala. The first of which is Executive Director Rodora Romero Aldemita of the International Service for the Acquisition of Agribiotech Applications. She will be representing the perspective of non-governmental organizations. And now, may I call on Executive Director Rodora Aldemita.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. I was part of the Horizon Scan. I was one of the participants in the food security part. But this time, I'm going to present what an NGO can do. And this is because in the Philippines, it's not only the government that works or that provide support to the information dissemination and also for R&D and everything that is needed to reach wider audience and to make everybody know what biotechnology is. So my talk would be what a non-government organization can do. So I am with the International Service for the Acquisition of Agri-Biotech Applications, which is ISA Incorporated. Next slide, please. What's the second slide? Yeah, so while waiting for the next slide, I'd like to introduce to you that ISA has been there since the late 1998, and we have been incorporated as ISA Incorporated in the Philippines in 2000. So we have been a member of a big group with the US, Cornell University, and then the ISA Afri Center in Kenya, Africa, and now the Southeast Asia Center, which is based in the Philippines at the International Rice Research Institute. So we have been operating not only for science communication, but also for capacity building. And we are a non-government institution registered at the Security and Exchange Commission since the 2000. And we've been partnering with a lot of like-minded organizations. And since we are called an NGO, we're partnering with both the government and the private sector. What's happening to my slide? Can you press the next slide, please? Oh, okay. I'm only given 10 minutes, kaya I'm concerned. Okay, so while we're waiting for my slides, I'm just going to talk to you about what we're doing. Yeah, so we have been collaborating with government and like-minded organizations, which are what we call the industry, and we provide information, communication, and education activities, not only to the research and the R&D, the researchers, but also to all the stakeholders, starting from the grassroots level, the farmers, the students, the academe, and the media, and also the policymakers and the regulators. It is important that all this information get through to these important stakeholders so that nothing is missed. We already know what's happening to us. The writ of kalikasan has been there. It has been okay. And then we were thinking that it was, we were already looking forward to a more productive commercialization of biotech crops, and then suddenly here we are again in the same position as 2015, but because of the improved regulations that we had in the JDC1 of 2021, we thought that everything was fine, but then suddenly it came. So it's like, where did we, what activities did we miss? Which stakeholder did we miss talking to? So currently, we are examining things and would like to move forward. We have so many things to do in information dissemination. And we'd like to introduce to you that ISA is not only for IEC, it's also for capacity building. We have been conducting capacity building for regulators, for also policymakers, for the House of Representatives, and for many others who need, especially the farmers, who need to know what biotechnology is. Okay na? Can we see the first slide? Konti pa po. Sige. Okay. So what's a non-government organization? Anybody who knows? Of course, it's non-government. So currently, we are looking at what is the role of a non-government organization. What came to mind was that the non-government organization is acting on behalf of both the government and the non-government. We are looking into more in-depth engagement because some of these stakeholders cannot be reached by the usual way, by the government or by the university. So the non-government organizations are the ones tasked, or we have this mindset that we have to do extra effort to reach these stakeholders, these other important stakeholders. And so that's why we are getting into more in-depth activities, more in-depth development of materials, and everything that these government institutions cannot do. So it's really a very big challenge for the non-government organizations such as ourselves to go into that. And then the second one is the funding of the non-government organizations come from donations or grants. We don't have a steady flow of source of funds. So that's why it's very important that we always write proposals and try to get funding so that we can develop our program. So again, so I'll start all over. So this is the role of NGOs in advancing biotechnology in the country. So we're ISA, next slide. And so the challenges in enhancing understanding of biotechnologies, so this will set the stage of why we need to do the enhancing of understanding of biotech. Because farmers and extension workers have inadequate, simple, translatable materials fit for the level of literacy. So there is inadequacy on that. Politicians and opinion leaders have different priorities for national development, inadequate awareness, and lobbying. I'm not saying that this is the Philippines alone, but this also happens in Asia. Policy and decision makers, bureaucracy is there all the time, and they're not convinced with the technology. This is not the Philippines, not really. And then the media, there's lack of information and misconception, but this has been improved, and we're improving very well. Regulators and environmentalists, of course, bureaucracy and misconception, and consumers and faith leaders, inadequate information, faith, and cultural concerns. I think I'm going to go closer. Next slide, please. So those are the challenges. So what is the role? So I've been talking about, I was starting to talk about it. So it's not affiliated with any government agency. It operates through donations and grants. It serves as additional help for the government to implement important but complex programs. So it's really a challenge. It empowers individuals to empower individuals in remote areas with knowledge and tools to uphold their rights and interests. And it helps develop capacity and provide policy advice to the government. It can complement fundraising activities geared towards education and capacity building, and it can influence policies and shape public discourse. So this has been the role of the NGOs. There are NGOs which only tackle some of these aspects, and so there are specialized NGOs. So for example, there are those working only for the health. There are those working on the rights or human rights, something like that. For us, we're working about information, dissemination, advocacy, and science-based policies on biotechnology in the Philippines. So now I'd like to, next slide, I'd like to provide you information on what we can do as ISA, as an NGO. So our motto is we feed the world with knowledge, so we're providing information, and this is through packaging of biotech information. We facilitate knowledge sharing, we develop science communication modalities, and we assist domestic biotech programs. So I'm just going to give to you some of the activities that we did last year, and these are our donors. So we have 70% of them come from the government, and 30% I think are from the private institutions. And it is worthy to note that even our government needs support from an NGO to disseminate biotechnology in the Philippines. That's why organizations like us are still tapped by our government to provide all those important needs of the government. Okay, next slide. So we have here, we package information for different audiences. So we brought 6 boxes of materials to this event, and they're all outside. You can get all the materials, and if you want some more, you can just go to our website. So we have materials, we have Pinoy Biotech Magazine, we have a public perception study, so you can see here that is for the researchers, for the public sector. We have infographics for the public readers. We also have monographs and some squeeze box, which is for the young. So we're still conscious of educating our young people. And we have packet case, a packet of knowledge, which are laymanized form of materials for our young people. Next slide, please. Now, how do we do knowledge sharing? This is our biotech update, which is released every Wednesday. If you're not yet a subscriber, you can just log on. You go to the ISA website, istraaa.org, put in your email address, and every Wednesday you will be receiving this newsletter. It has been there since 2000, and this is the only remaining newsletter on its kind. When we started, we were so many, but now this is the only one standing. So this was, and for every newsletter release, we have the gene editing supplement, and we also have a blog. Okay, next slide, please. And so this is the blog, Science Speaks, and this is the gene editing supplement.